Hello. Make your way to a comfortable seated position. You don't need any props for this sequence, but if you have blocks, you're welcome to sit on a block right now to elevate your hips. Take a moment to settle in and breathe. Let your chest expand, open wide as you inhale, and exhale, release. Just let out a big sigh. In today's practice, I invite you to practice with Ahimsa in mind. Ahimsa is one of the Yoga Sutras, which refers to non-harming. So practice without causing any harm to yourself. Ahimsa can refer to harming others or yourself. It's also about doing what you need right now. So in terms of practicing yoga, practicing with Ahimsa one day might mean that you push yourself a little harder. Maybe you've been quiet or you haven't had as much movement lately and you need a little more movement. Other times, if you've been under a lot of stress or having too much movement, the answer for Ahimsa might be to practice gently and softly. It also means to really pay attention to what your body needs. Be aware of any aches and pains in your body. And if a pose does not feel right, always back off from that. But if a pose feels good, maybe in the muscles, maybe it's an invitation to dive in deeper. So practice with Ahimsa in mind as we go through the poses. There's a quote by the Dalai Lama. When we feel love and kindness towards others, it also helps us to develop inner happiness and peace. So practicing with Ahimsa in mind, imagine practicing with that inner happiness and peace as we go through the moves. Bring your hands to your side. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, slowly lower your arms down. Inhale, lift. And exhale completely. Exhaling a little more than you thought you could. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And again. This time, inhale, lift your arms up over your head. As you exhale, gently twist to the left as you lower your arms. Inhale back to center, arms up. Exhale, twist to the right. Back to center. And twist. And up. And then twist to the right. Back to center. And lower your arms. Place your hands on the mat behind you and uncross your legs and take your feet a little wider than your hips. Let your knees roll to the left, back to center and over to the right. And just move your legs back and forth slowly a couple of times. Notice how this feels on your body, your hips, your spine, your back, your legs. And then come on back to center and make your way onto all fours. Coming into tabletop. As you inhale, invite your chest and belly to lower towards the mat. Think of tilting your pelvis forward and breathe here. Take advantage of the extra space in your chest to inhale a little deeper, a little longer. And exhale, completely relax into this pose. Now on your next exhale, using your core, lift your spine up, begin to round your back, coming into a cat stretch. Lift your spine up towards the ceiling, pushing your belly into your spine. Just breathe here. Then inhaling, arch your back. And exhale, round. You can either move through these poses at your own pace, or if one of these shapes really resonates with your body, just hang out there. Maybe enjoy a good stretch on your upper back as you come into a cat stretch. Or enjoy the stretch of the open chest in cow pose. Or enjoy the movement. And then come back to a neutral spine and pause here. Let your hips roll to the right, and then slide your hips back and then over to the left and forward, making a big slow circle with your hips. And then pause somewhere and slowly go the other direction, coming forward and over to the other side and back. Again, big slow circle in the other direction. And then back to center. As you inhale, reach your left arm out to the side and up. Lower that left arm and thread the left hand through along the mat between your right wrist and knee, and rest that left shoulder and arm, maybe the side of your head, on the mat. Option to reach your right arm up and gently drape it over your back, coming over to your right side. Lower your right hand to the mat, coming back to tabletop. Inhaling, reach your right arm out to the side and up. Lower your right arm, thread it through along the mat between your left wrist and knee, resting your right shoulder on the mat. Option to stay here or reach the left arm up and place it on your back behind you. Practicing with Ahimsa, kindness. What gives you and your practice the most benefit today? And lower your hands to the mat. And walk your knees together. Straighten your right leg out behind you, foot flexed. Now lower that right hip so it's level with the left, right heel the same height as the right hip. Really flex that foot. Feel the engagement in the lifted leg and the core. Option to stay here or straighten your left arm. An option to stay here, or as you exhale, round your back and bring your elbow and knee together to touch and hold. Inhaling, straighten your arm and leg. Exhale, bring them together. And straighten. And together. And just hold here. And lower your hand and knee to the mat. And now straighten your left leg out behind you. Lower that left hip so it's level with the right. Flex that foot. Left heel same height as left hip. Engaging the core here. Maybe on this side you stay here. Or straighten your right arm forward. As you exhale, round your back and bring your elbow and knee together. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring them together, rounding your back. And lengthen. Exhale, round your back, bring them together and hold. And lower your hand and knee to the mat. And now just come up onto your knees. You can face the length of your mat and straighten your right leg, right foot flat on the mat, right hand rests on right leg. Turn your left palm out. As you inhale, reach your left arm up over your head. Let your right hand slide down your right leg. Think drawing that left shoulder back. Breathe here in Parigasana, gate pose. Lower your left hand to the mat and reach your right arm up over your head. Think right shoulder back, reaching the right side of your waist and rib cage and hips up. Maybe drawing the left ribs and hip together. Lower your right hand and come back up to a kneeling position. Straighten your left leg, left hand rests on left leg, turn your right palm out. As you inhale, reach your right arm up and over your head, letting that left hand slide down that left leg, right shoulder back. Try to keep the left leg straight, left foot flat on the mat. Now lower your right hand to the mat and reach your left arm up over your head. Imagine you can lift the left waist and rib cage and hips up higher, drawing the right ribs and hip together. Now lower your left hand and knee to the mat. Coming onto the tops of your feet, gently lower your hips over your heels and rest in child's pose. Your hands might support your head, or you might have your arms forward, or perhaps you like to have your arms by your side in child's pose. Breathe. Just scan your body and notice how you feel. And now place your hands on the mat, shoulder distance apart. Lift your hips up over your knees. Walk your hands forward and come right onto your belly. With your hands resting gently under your shoulders. They're just resting. You're not pressing into the mat. They're just resting. You can also let them hover. Have the tops of the feet on the mat. Look straight ahead. Press your belly into the mat and lift your chest forward and up. Hands are just there. Think shoulders soft away from your ears and back. In Bhujangasana, Cobra. Maybe lift higher. To protect your low back, keep that lowest rib cage on the mat. If your low back feels good, maybe come up just an inch or two higher. Breathe. And now pressing your hands into the mat, come through tabletop. Let your back round or arch wherever it feels natural. Tops of the feet stay on the mat, and lower your hips over your heels, resting in child's pose. And now come through tabletop, walking your hands forward again, onto your belly, back into Cobra, Bhujangasana. If Cobra feels right for you today, just hang out here. Or come through tabletop, maybe hanging out here, or in child's pose, or just move through these 3 poses, rounding and arching your back, wherever it feels natural and right for you. Practicing with Ahimsa, non-harming, only supporting your body, your mind. Just do this a couple more times. And the next time you come through tabletop, pause here. Tuck your toes, lift your knees up off the mat, and walk your feet forward to your hands. Let your knees be as bent as you need to keep your nice straight spine. Maybe today you rest your forearms on your thighs. Or you can fold forward, letting your arms dangle, or place your hands on the mat, or if you're using blocks, on blocks at any height. Keep that nice straight spine, maybe playing with straightening one leg, maybe the other, perhaps both. As you exhale, invite your body to fold more deeply. Let your head dangle. On your next inhale, engage your core. Try to use just your abdominal muscles to lift yourself halfway up. Arms are straight, they land on your legs wherever they land. Think shoulders back, nice straight spine. You don't want your back rounded. Bend your knees if you need to in order to straighten your spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. Inhaling, lift. Knees slightly soft. Exhale, think of hinging at the hips. Keep that straight spine. Engage your core. As you exhale, fold. Inhaling halfway up. Again, use that core to come halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, reach your arms out. Come all the way to standing. Arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And lower your arms. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Have your feet parallel to each other to start, feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot back, a nice big step back, hands on hips. Bend that left knee, and then bring the right hip forward so you're facing the front of the mat. Right heel can stay down with the toes pointed out, or you can lift that heel. See what feels best for you. Be mindful that your left knee and foot are pointed in the same direction, and you want your left knee above or behind the ankle, not in front. If it's in front, just step that right foot back even further. Engaging your core, bring your rib cage in. Inhaling, lift your arms up over your head. Breathe. Soft shoulders as you reach your fingertips up. What's right for you today? Stay here, or maybe deepen the lunge. Engage the core and back leg a little bit more. Maybe straighten that back knee. Breathe. Have that left foot flat on the mat. Big toe and baby toe side, equal weight. Lower your arms and interlace your fingers behind your back. Stretch your knuckles back as you open your chest wide. Breathe here. On your next exhale, lean forward with your chest to the inside of your left leg, letting your hands come up in humble warrior. And release your hands. Place them on the mat on either side of the left foot, or if you're using blocks, you can place them on blocks, and step the right foot back as far as you can. Gently soften the hips towards the mat. Right knee is still lifted up off the mat for a couple more breaths. And now lower that right knee all the way down and send the hips forward. Right toes can be tucked or top of the foot on the mat. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head as you still send your hips forward. Lower both hands, tuck the right toes, lift that right knee up off the mat and step the right foot forward to beside the left and bow forward. Soft knees, nice straight spine. Inhaling halfway up, think shoulders back, engage the core. Exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side all the way to standing, arms up over your head, palms together at your heart, and release. With feet hip distance apart, step your left foot straight back behind you, fairly big step back. Hands on hips, bend that right knee, and now bring the left hip forward so your hips and shoulders are parallel to the front of the mat. Right knee and foot pointed in the same direction. Left heel can stay down with the toes pointed out, or left heel lifted if that feels more comfortable for you. Deepen the lunge. Right knee and foot pointed in the same direction. Inhaling, lift your arms up. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. Engaging that core. Draw the rib cage in. Maybe deepen the lunge. Option to straighten the left leg. Lower your arms and interlace your fingers behind your back. Stretch your knuckles back. Open your chest wide here. Breathe. On your next exhale, fold forward to the inside of the right knee, letting your hands come up. And lower both hands to the mat or to blocks if you're using them. On either side of the right foot, step the left foot back a little further and soften those hips towards the mat, keeping that left knee lifted. Relax your cheeks, your jaw, your shoulders, letting your hips melt. And now lower that left knee to the mat and send your hips forward. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head while hips still go forward. And lower both hands to the mat or to blocks. Tuck your left toes. Lift the left knee up and step the left foot forward to beside the right. And softly fold forward in Uttanasana. Imagine you can lift your hips up higher. And then as you exhale, fold a little deeper. Inhaling halfway up and breathe. Exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Arms up over your head, palms together at your heart. And release your hands. Turn and face your side of your mat. You can take your feet nice and wide. Hands on hips, take a nice deep inhale here. As you exhale, engaging the core, fold forward halfway with a nice flat back. Inhale. And exhale, come on back up. Inhale deeply. And exhale, fold halfway. A couple more times. If you wish to add a little more engagement, bring your arms out to the side, or even more engagement, arms up over your head. Wherever your arms are as you exhale, fold forward halfway. And then exhale back to the other position. Inhaling, stay where you are. And the next time you fold forward halfway, pause here. And then on your next exhale, lower both hands to the mat or to blocks, or you can cross your arms and let your elbows dangle. Take a couple of breaths here. And then place your hands on your hips. On your next exhale, come back up to standing. Pivot on your right heel, turn your right toes out. So right foot is parallel to the length of the mat. Hands on hips, bend that right knee. Check in that your right knee and foot are pointed in the same direction, or adjust the foot so that they are. Keep your shoulders directly above your hips so your spine stays vertical. Left foot pressed into the mat, left leg straight. Arms out to the side, palms face down. Draw your shoulder blades together as you reach your fingertips away from you. Turn and look over your right hand. Even here, engage your core. Draw your rib cage and belly in. And breathe inside warrior. Parshva Virabhadrasana, or Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Maybe deepen the lunge. Practicing with Ahimsa in mind, giving your body exactly what it needs, more or less, or just right. Straighten your right leg and turn your palms forward. Keeping that right leg straight, reach forward with your right hand, but still keeping space in that right side body. Go as far as you can, wherever that is. And then let your right arm lower. It may just come to your knee or your thigh. Maybe come lower. Option to rest your left hand on left hip, or perhaps reach your left arm up. Just think left shoulder back. In Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. If that right knee bends, just come up again till you can straighten it without locking the knee. All the muscles are engaged. Slowly come on up and lower your arms. Bring the pivot on the left heel and bring the left toes in and face the right side of your mat. And heel toe your right foot out to the right, just enough that you can comfortably balance. So your right foot is parallel to the length of the mat. Left toes are pointed out at a 45-degree angle. Hands on hips, bring that left hip forward so you're facing the front of the mat. If you're using blocks, if you have blocks, just keep them handy on either side of your right foot. And if you're not using blocks, don't use blocks. Hands on hips, bringing that left hip forward. Lengthen your spine as you inhale. As you exhale, send your hips back. Keeping your spine straight, fold forward, just hinging at the hips. Engaging your core, keeping your spine and core strong. If that right knee starts to bend, just come up again till it's straight. And if your back starts to round, come up again till it's straight. Option to stay here, or if you have blocks, place your hands on the blocks. And if you don't have blocks, you can either stay with your hands on your hips, or for some you might reach the mat. This is pyramid pose, Parsvattanasana. Just think of hinging at that right hip. Now bend your right knee and come on up to standing. If you're using blocks, just bring them to the other end of your mat and bring your right toes in and adjust your feet so they're parallel to each other again. Pivot on your left heel and turn your left toes out so it's facing the end of your mat. Right toes are facing forward, the side of your mat. Hands on hips, bend that left knee. If your left knee passes your ankle like mine is doing, heel toe your right foot back. Take a wider step back and then come back into the lunge. Check in that your left knee and foot are pointed in the same direction. Shoulders stay directly above the hips. Arms out to the side. Squeeze your shoulder blades together as you reach your fingertips away from you. Keep your right foot pressed flat onto the mat. Breathe here. Turn and look over your left arm. Maybe deepen the lunge. And breathe. And slowly lower your arms and straighten your left leg. Still facing the side, arms and legs stay straight here. Reach your arms to your side, palms facing forward. Reach forward with your left hand. Let your hips slide back. Let your left hip flexor bend here. The left knee may want to start to bend. Just come back and straighten it. Reach forward and then let your left arm land somewhere in front of the left leg. Option to rest the right hand on right hip or reach your right arm up, think right shoulder back. Breathe here. Practice in a way that's just right for you today. Don't worry about what the poses look like. Just make sure you're practicing from a place of ahimsa, non-harming. Slowly make your way back up and gently lower your arms. Bring your right toes in and adjust your right foot to the right enough that you can balance on your feet and turn and face the other end of your mat, keeping the blocks at this end if you might use them for the next pose, pyramid pose, Parsvattanasana. So hands on your hips, right toes pointed out at a 45-degree angle, left foot parallel to the length of the mat. Just slide the right hip forward so your hips and shoulders are parallel to the front of the mat. Spine stays nice and straight, so engage your core. Legs stay nice and straight. There's a micro bend in them, so engage the muscles in the legs. Without locking the knees, keep the knees to appear straight. Inhaling deeply to lengthen your spine. Exhale, let the hips go back and fold forward. Again, if your back starts to round or your knee bends, just come up again till you can go as far as you can without rounding or bending. In Parsvattanasana. Option to stay here. Maybe on this side your hands reach the mat, or maybe on this side you use blocks, or simply keep your hands on your hips. Left hip back and breathe. Every exhale, soften your body forward just a touch. And then slowly lift back up. Bring your left toes in. Adjust your feet so they're parallel to each other. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. And breathe. Inhaling, arms out to the side. Slowly rise to standing, arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. With your feet wide, pivot on your toes and bring your heels in. Bring your arms in an L-shaped position, palms facing each other. And now bend your knees. Engage your core. Sit back with your shoulders, aiming to have your shoulders directly over your hips, more or less. Sit deeply and breathe. In goddess pose, Utkatta Konasana. Maybe sit more deeply. And slowly straighten the legs and lower the arms and walk your feet together. Place your right foot firmly in the mat, right knee slightly bent. Bring your hands on to your hips and bring the toes of your left foot on the mat. Turn the left knee out. Focus your gaze on an object in front of you. We're already in tree pose. If you'd like to go deeper, slide the sole of the left foot to the right ankle. Focus your gaze. Right knee has a slight bend in it. Really root that right foot into the mat. Option to bring the sole of the left foot onto the right calf, really pressing them together. Or option to bring the sole of the left foot to the right inner thigh, but only come up here if you can get right onto the thigh. If your foot only makes the knee, avoid. Keep it back on the calf. And if you fall out of the pose like I did, just try again. Every day, practice is a little different. Keep it on the calf today. Palms together at your heart. Or option to reach your arms up over your head. Sometimes the more you try, the harder it gets. Just breathe. Be soft in your practice. And slowly lower your arms and lower that foot. Now press your left foot firmly on the mat, left knee slightly bent. Hands on hips, come onto the toes of the right foot. Turn the right knee out. Focus your gaze. Maybe slide the sole of your right foot to your left calf, left ankle, or press it into the calf. Or maybe on this side, you bring that foot to the inner thigh, but avoid the knee. Option to bring palms together at your heart, or maybe arms up over your head. Any version of the pose that's right for you. And if you if you fall out of the pose, just try again. And breathe. And slowly lower your arms. Release that foot. Bring your arms in an L-shaped position and make a circle with your thumb and forefinger. Keep your right foot firmly rooted on the mat, bend the right knee. Lift the left knee up and flex that left foot. Now bring the left heel pass across the standing leg, but it's in front, it's not touching. So it's in front. Bend the standing leg. And turn your gaze to the left in Dancing Shiva. And lower your arms and lower your foot. Press that left foot firmly into the mat. Left knee slightly bent. Arms in L-shaped position. Make a circle with your thumb and first finger. Lift your right knee up and flex that right foot. Cross that right heel past the standing leg without touching it. Bend the standing leg. Turn your gaze to the right. And then back to center. Lower your arms and lower that leg. Inhaling, lift your arms up. Exhale, fold. Breathe here. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. Release. Make your way to the front of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Pressing your left foot into the mat, just rest the toes of your right foot on the mat behind you. Keep that left knee ever so slightly bent. It really does help with balance. Start with your palms together at your heart. Throughout this pose, we're coming into Warrior 3, so imagine you can keep that straight line between your torso and your back leg. Play with lifting your right toes up off the mat, immediately flexing that foot. If here you're just tapping your toes to keep your balance, you're welcome to hang out here and just see how long you can keep that right foot lifted without touching the mat. Just breathe. If you come out of the pose, just try again. Or, keeping that straight line between your torso and back leg, fold forward at your left hip as your right leg comes up. Think of lowering that right hip so it's level with the left. Keep flexing that right foot. Option to stay here or straighten the arms out front. Breathe. And then slowly with control, come on back up and lower that foot and lower your arms. And again, feet hip distance apart. Press that right foot firmly in the mat, right knee slightly bent. Palms together at your heart. Step your left toes back so they're just resting lightly on the mat behind you. When you're ready, focus your gaze. Play with lifting your left toes up and flexing that foot. Breathe here. Maybe on this side you're tapping the foot. You're welcome to stay here. Or keeping that straight line with the back leg, left leg and torso, fold forward at your right hip, lifting the left leg up, keep that left foot flexed. Lower that left hip so it's level with your right. Option to stay here or reach your arms forward. Breathe. And slowly come on up. Lower your foot and lower your arms. Take a nice deep inhale to lift your arms up. Long, slow exhale to fold forward. Inhaling, come halfway up. Breathe and exhale, fold. Inhale, arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Exhale, palms together. Release. Inhaling, lift. And slowly exhale and fold. Place both knees on the mat. Untuck your toes so the tops of the feet are on the mat. And gently lower your hips over your heels, coming into any variation of child's pose that's right for you. Maybe arms forward, maybe resting your forehead on your hands or your fists, or your hands by your side. Breathe. Scan your body and notice how you feel. And then place your hands under your shoulders, lift up, and make your way to a seated position. Bring the soles of your feet together with your knees open wide. If your hips are feeling tight, it might be more comfortable to sit on a block. And if you have any issues with your low back, bring your feet a little further away from you, making more of a diamond shape with your legs. If your low back feels healthy, you can pull your feet in closer to your hips. If you need to, start with your hands on the mat behind you, and with your hands, just softly offer your chest forward. Or you can grab your feet and fold forward a little bit more. Right now, just think about sending your chest forward, a more or less straight back. If your elbows are anywhere near your knees, with your elbows, invite your knees to open a little bit more. And now on your next breath, round your back and let your head lower in the direction of your feet. Just softly encourage them. Then slowly make your way back up. Straighten your right leg. Bring the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. Turn and face your left knee and let your right hand rest on your right leg. Keep that right foot vertical so it's not pointed out or in, and open your left shoulder back. Turn your right palm up. Take a deep inhale here, and as you exhale, slide your right hand towards your right leg. And then reach your left arm up and over your head, somewhere in the direction of your right toes. Think opening that left shoulder back. Now lower your left hand on the mat behind your left hip, roll onto your left knee, reach your right arm up, and open, lift your hips up. And then lower your hips and straighten your left leg and bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. Turn and face, twist to the right, facing your right knee. Left hand rests on left leg, left foot stays vertical. Turn your left palm up, open that right shoulder back. Inhaling, reach your right arm up and over, somewhere in the direction of your left toes. Each side might feel quite different. Just breathe, honoring where you are in your practice, without judgment. Now lower the right hand to the mat behind your right hip. Roll onto your right knee, lift your hips up, and inhaling, stretch your left arm up and back behind you. And then lower your hips to the mat, keeping the left leg straight out in front. Cross your right foot over your left, right knee is bent. With your left hand, pull that right heel back somewhere in the direction of your left hip. And with your right hand, lower that right knee somewhere on top of your left. Keep that right foot flexed. Maybe your hands are on the mat behind you, and with your hands, just push your chest forward. Maybe you stay here. Option to flex those left toes towards you. Maybe walk your hands forward. Just soften into the pose. Couple more breaths. And then walk your hands back. Straighten your right leg, bending your left leg. Cross your left foot over your right. And now with your right hand, pull that left heel back. Keep that left foot flexed. It protects the knee. And then with your left hand, lower that left knee on top of the right. Both feet are flexed. Maybe on this side, you start with your hands behind you. You're facing the straight leg. Or with your hands, push your chest forward, option to walk your hands forward. In Ardha Gomukhasana, half cow face pose. Just breathe, soften into this pose. Let your body stretch naturally without being forced. And then slowly make your way back up. Uncross your legs. And with your feet on the mat, knees bent, slide your hips forward and come onto your back. Just softly hug your knees to your chest. Let your whole spine rest into the mat, being supported by the mat. You're welcome to rock side to side if that feels right for you. Now gently hug the right knee to the chest and lower the left foot to the mat. If this is already enough of a stretch, stay right here. Or maybe straighten the left leg onto the mat. And now hug the left knee into the chest, either lowering the right foot to the mat or option to straighten the right leg. And now hugging both knees to the chest, push your knees away from you and bring the soles of your feet together. With your hands on your knees, slide your hands down your shins as far as you can go. Maybe they just reach your ankles. If you can, try to grab the outside of your feet, keeping the feet together. And now push the knees away from you while pulling the feet in towards you. Press your spine firmly into the mat so that your spine is fully supported by the floor beneath you. Simply breathe. And now, with each hand on each ankle or the outside of the foot, keeping your knees apart, lift your feet up away from each other so the soles of the feet are facing the ceiling. If you prefer, you can stay here, pushing your knees towards the outside of your shoulders, or if it feels right, just rock side to side, massaging your spine in happy baby. And then lower both feet to the mat. Come into a nice gentle twist before Shavasana. Place your arms on the mat away from your body. Slide your hips to the right, bringing your knees and feet together. Option to cross your left leg over your right, or not. You can always cross it after you come into the pose. Now let your knees roll to the left. Gaze might look over your left arm, or if you prefer, turn your gaze over your right arm for a slightly deeper twist. Eyes can be open or closed. Simply breathe and let go. And gently bring your knees back to center. So option to cross your right leg over your left. And then let your knees roll to the right, legs crossed or uncrossed. Gaze either over your right arm or your left. In any version of a gentle twist that's right for you. Slowly bring your knees back to center. If you want a blanket or a sweater or eye pillow, get whatever you need for Shavasana. Or if you have a bolster, it's nice to put it across the mat under your knees. Rest your arms on the mat away from your body, palms turned up. And then gently straighten one leg and then the other. Make any adjustments you need so your body, your hips and arms and shoulders, your whole body is fully comfortable. If it's comfortable for you, softly close your eyes or soften your gaze. Let your breath be long, slow, natural. As your body comes into stillness, invite your mind to join it in complete stillness, releasing any thoughts, letting go, without judgment. And as you exhale, let your body melt into the mat and rest fully in Shavasana. Softly allow your breath to deepen. Gently move your fingers and toes. Softly move your arms and legs. Maybe stretching your arms up over your head and hugging your knees to your chest. Take as much time as you need to gently roll over to your right side. And come on up to a comfortable seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.